What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Primetime Sports Podcast, hosted by Joey Malari. So I'm just out of class, and in class, my last class of the week, I see the Giants just traded Kadarius Toney to the Kansas City Chiefs for a third and a sixth round pick. I think at the end of the day, an injured wide receiver like Kadarius Toney that had a million injuries, if you can get a third and sixth round pick out of him, that's great value. He has 2 rushes this year and 2 receptions, so 4 total touches in the first 7 games of the season. That's a great return. And it seemed like he was a head case. It seemed like he didn't want to play for the Giants. He didn't want to be in New York. Didn't want to play for the Giants. Made up a million injuries. I'm just going to give you a rundown of all the injuries he's had. He had a hamstring injury, a quad injury, an ankle injury, a thumb injury, an oblique injury, and shoulder injury in 2021 with COVID twice. And now this year, hurt his hamstring and then hurt his other hamstring while coming back, trying to rehab to get back on the field. And if you look at what he's done, 2 catches, and missed 12 out of 24 career games this year. So he has 2 catches this season, 12 out of 24 career games he could have potentially played in. He's missed, so half the time he was with the Giants, he was out. And if you look at it, he really only had 1 good game in his career. 10 catches for 189 yards versus the Cowboys last year. Did get kicked out of that game for throwing a punch at a Cowboys defensive back, and then was out of the game and kicked out, even though that was his best game as a Giant. It wasn't even close. So he really didn't have any other games that were good. But he's very special receiver. Obviously has a ton of talent, shifty, agile, can get you juking, can get you missing, get you in and out, going right, going left. He can get you, with all those things, get you missing and obviously get yards after contact, since he's pretty strong as well, especially for a smaller receiver. But I think the Giants saw Wan'Dale Robinson as their Kadarius Toney, and they said, okay, let's take a guy that's probably not great in the locker room like Kadarius Toney. He's not contributing at all. With 6 and 1 without him even playing, so it's not like we really need to keep him just because he's playing well. He wasn't playing well. And I think they saw a third and sixth round pick and said, why not? And I think last week, maybe 2 weeks ago now, I was on air, WZBC AM Sports Radio, and I was talking about Kadarius Toney, and I said, if I could get a third round pick from him, I'd trade him. So when you get a third and a sixth, that's great value, especially considering he's not contributing to your team at all. Besides headaches. I just listed out 10 injuries he's had over the last year and a half. And he's missed 12 out of 24 career games, with only 2 catches and 2 rushes this year, and both those coming in week 1 and week 2, and hasn't played since. Missing the last 5 games, the Giants are 6 and 1 without him. We don't need him at the end of the day. We don't need him. And I think the headache that he was in New York, we're better off without him. Although he's a very talented player, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Kansas City and lights it up. Because he put out a tweet not too long ago now, which I'm going to tell you guys what the tweet was. That joke would have been funny if I was actually hurt still, LOL. Irrelevant people don't get updates. So clearly Kadarius Toney had an immaturity issue. Obviously probably had problems in the locker room. Joe Schoen, Brian Daboll, both first-year head coach, first-year GMs. Both those guys, first year for both of them as a GM and a head coach, I think they saw him as a problem and said he was part of the last era, the Dave Gettleman era, and let's move off from him. But if you look at what we got in that Dave Gettleman trade on draft day in 2021, when we traded the 11th pick, which turned into Justin Fields, and got a first-round pick, the 20th overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft, has moved down 9 spots, got Kadarius Toney, and then also the Bears' first-round pick in 2022, which was the 7th overall pick this past year. We got Evan Neal, right tackle out of Alabama. Also got a 3rd-round pick from the Bears, or a 5th-round pick from the Bears that turned into a 3rd-round pick that we traded up with that 5th-round pick with to get Aaron Robinson, a cornerback out of UCF, and he also played at Alabama in college. So we got a great value out of them. We also got a 5th-round pick in this past year's draft, a 4th-round pick in this past year's draft, 2022, and got Daniel Bellinger, a tight end out of San Diego State that looks like a tight end for the future. I know he's hurt now, but that's a great draft day trade. If you look at what we got out of that, moving from 11 to 20, so moving down 9 spots. You got Kadarius Toney, which turned into a 3rd and 6th round pick. So not great, but you still got something back for a guy that's only played 12 out of 24 games and is a head case, as I said, in the locker room, it seems like. And you're also getting Evan Neal, Daniel Bellinger, and Aaron Robinson with a 3rd and 6th round pick. That's not bad value there. Not bad value. And it seems like Kadarius Toney wasn't going to play as a Giant even if he was healthy. Because it seems like right now in that tweet that he just put out, he was healthy right now and could have played. It seems like he didn't want to be a Giant. At the end of the day, I think they saw too many headaches with him and said, we are better off trading him. Obviously, now it goes to the Chiefs that needed a wide receiver, needed help there. Obviously, losing Tyreek Hill in the offseason, trading him to the Dolphins. Wide receivers a need for them. Juju Smith-Schuster's been playing great over the last 2 weeks. Now they're in their bye week right now. Probably use this week to try to figure out a way to get Kadarius Toney to learn the playbook, and he'll be playing next week in week 9. So we'll see how that works out. Obviously, I wish Kadarius Toney nothing but the best. I was a big fan of him when he was on the Giants. I also did say that I wouldn't mind trading him. But while I was a big fan of him, I always said if we could get some value back and get a 3rd-round pick, I would be fine moving him. And that's what we did. At the end of the day, we moved him since we saw some value, a 3rd and 6th-round pick. And he wasn't going to contribute anything to this team. He wasn't going to play, especially considering even when he was healthy. The first 2 games he was healthy, he didn't even touch the ball. 4 touches in 2 games. So that really isn't much for a guy that's supposed to be a gadget guy getting the ball, and you want to get him the ball in open space. At the end of the day, the Giants are a 3rd and 6th round pick, and I love the trade. I love the move. A-plus move for the Giants. I'd say a B-plus move for the Chiefs. Not even a bad move for them because if Kadarius Toney is healthy and can actually keep his head in the game, he could be one of the most shiftiest, talented receivers in the NFL. He's a lot of talent, just doesn't seem to have the right mentality, the winning mentality it takes, especially in a Giants locker room that's 6-1 right now. Everything's going well for them. He's just creating distractions with his injuries and his tweets and his problems with the media. Obviously, now Joe Schoen moves off of that, and hopefully the Giants are better off. I think they will be. Anyways, thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this. As always, I appreciate it, and hope you guys have a good one. Thank you.